So we're here today challenging the situation in Pakistan. In 2009, I began campaigning for Pakistani Christians. Many people here before me challenging for even longer. Since then, absolutely nothing has changed. If anything, the situation in Pakistan has worsened. Last week, a man was beaten to near death after a false allegation of blasphemy. The man now is in prison awaiting the opportunity to take it to court to free exonerate himself. That can take up to 2 to 3 years because Pakistani's draconian, insidious blasphemy laws ensure that any charge for blasphemy requires a court case. Nobody can be acquitted before that. The court process itself is archaic and delayed. That means people generally stay within 2 to 5 years before they even get an appeal hearing. That's unjustified. We live in the 21st century at a time when Pakistan itself claims to be a democratically elected government. Yet they continue to undermine Christians and other minorities through their constitution. The Islamic Republic of Pakistan is the title for the nation. You have to be a Muslim. Islam is the national faith. That's unfair on every other minority. You cannot be Prime Minister or President unless you're a Muslim of at least 40 years of age. How can that be justified in this day and age? Even Britain has had a Hindu Prime Minister. The situation in Pakistan seems to be worsening, and I'm going to give you some statistics. In 2013, the National Commission for Justice and Peace claimed 13% of blasphemy charges were laid against Christians, who at the time made up 1.6% of the population. Their number has now reduced to 1.27% of the population, yet the blasphemy charges laid against them are in excess of 15%. It's a growing concern. A tiny minority shrinking, yet still being pursued by a draconian law that should be abrogated. We have a statistic from 2014 from the Muslim NGO Movement for Solidarity and Peace, a Muslim NGO. They've stated quite clearly that an estimated 700 Christian girls in that year were kidnapped, raped and forced into Islamic marriage, a further 300 Hindu girls. Yet if you look on the internet, you will find record after record of additional Christian girls being kidnapped. The numbers have increased exponentially. It is therefore no surprise that the Christian population is reduced from 1.6% to 1.27%. I'm almost definite these brutal rapes, kidnaps and forced marriages are having a massive contributory effect to the decline in the Christian nation. Our schools, our universities were taken up by the Pakistani government illegitimately. Later, Christians in 2010 managed to pay huge fines, huge bribes to get their colleges and institutions back. But after that, there was a massive decline in the level of education for Christians. Christians now, the majority, attain only 7% of them attain an adequate level of literacy. 86% of Christians work in the sewage industry, or in the sweepers, or in the carpet industry, where they are bullied, cajoled, where they're the only community in the country paying tax. Only 1% of the population pays tax, and I'm almost definitely it's all the government-employed sweepers and sewage workers. Something drastically has to be done. This is despite Britain ploughing in billions into Pakistan, trying to promote holistic education reform. Yet in 2013, after an initial 2006, after an initial report in 2003, the United States Commission for International Religious Freedom recognized that the national curriculum of Pakistan demonizes and caricatures Christians, calling them demons and supporters of the West. This is one of the reasons why it's so easy to target them for abuse, for persecution, for other, the discriminatory behaviour towards them. They are anathema in their own country. I remind people of the story of Asia Bibi, a blasphemy victim, who simply drank from the same well as Muslims. Muslims thought she had made them ritually impure. That water could no longer be drunk. They beat her, she was raped, eventually she was accused of blasphemy, placed in a prison for 10 years. I was one of the people that helped that woman escape incarceration in Pakistan and flee to Canada. It was I that released that to the media at the time. There are many things I could tell you, but we're short of time today. What I will say is you can learn more on my website, if you look up United by Faith, or my wife's charity, British Asian Christian Association. Record after record of the decrepit, the institution of Pakistan, and the impact that a lawless nation has had on its minorities, not just Christians, the Jewish minority and the Hindu minority. I'm going to leave one anecdote for you. You've seen the Palestinian protests. Hundreds of thousands of people calling for peace in Palestine, despite the fact it was Hamas that started this war. Yet absolutely none of those will speak up for Pakistani Christians who have been suffering this indiscriminate, awful persecution for decade after decade, generation after generation. The last Jew in Pakistan came to me for help. I helped him get his passport changed from Muslim to Jewish. There were over 900 Jews in Pakistan claiming to be Muslim on their identity documents, fearful of reprisals. Why will no one speak up for them?